see the way they hate. And I know better than to listen to the people who are calling us slaves. I can feel the sunlight shining.
Well, good morning. It's Monday, January 13th, 2024, and welcome to episode 821 of the Lost Project Morning Show, where the coffee's strong, the opinions are stronger, and everything's always filter-free. I'm Brian, your host, and today I'm enjoying a light Ethiopian from foodforestfarms.com, where you can get 10% off with discount code LOTS10, and the shipping is always free. While you're there, check out the C4 Club. Oh, 2024. Thanks, Pip, in the comments. Yeah, way back time in the heading back a year. It's one of those mornings, guys. But while you're over at Food Forest Farms, check out the C4 Club, fantastic coffee club where you get a monthly shipment of fantastic air roasted coffee direct to your door, a personal relationship with your coffee roaster, and it's fantastic. There's so many perks. It's tough to mention them here. Check it out at foodforestfarms.com. Today we're going to be talking about Snowmageddon, on an odd commercial that came up on our Amazon Prime, and a new local contact and a little bit more. So let's get to it. Head on over into the live chat, see who's hanging out in the coffee crew. Whew. Good morning. Good morning. It's been a tough one. Let me drop a note over here on Noster, and away we'll go. Yeah, thanks, Pip, for catching the 2024. I don't know. I guess I didn't change my notes, and I just didn't even look at the date. I knew it was the 13th today. We got the 20th coming up next week. Big day, 20th. We got next Monday's show will be a doozy. It's going to be on Inauguration Day, Martin Luther King Day. It's just a day to celebrate. Let's see who's hanging out. Good morning, Seattle. In way early says, first I'm drinking bag in a box break room decaf. Whew, that doesn't sound good. With fake creamer and sugar. I'll join at 4:05-5:05, depending on if the truck gets here in the next half hour. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day at work. That was, thanks for stopping in Canadian Farmsteads Driving. Thanks for driving to wherever you're going. Drive safely. I hope you're listening while you're on the road. Pip, good morning. Waking up and helping with installing toilets. Waking up for helping with installing. Who's installing toilets? Cormac, good morning, Cormac. Thanks for stopping in. Rewilder Life agrees that that's rough on that coffee situation with the bag in the box decaf. I think so. Pip says he's had to buy a few kids' Christmas and birthday presents lately. Amazon is showing all kinds of baby ads. Oh, Pip. Get out of that loop. Get out of that loop. You know, they've said that the algos on social media, some of them can made it when tell you you're pregnant before you actually know. So Pip might want to pee on a stick. Wilder Life just pounded a breakfast smoothie and is work today and pooped. Good morning, Jim, over on Noster. Thanks for stopping in over there for sure. Thanks for all the clips. Thanks, Chris Dixon, for all the clips. Speaking of clips, if you don't know, you haven't heard, you haven't listened for a while, just a reminder that we got about half a month left. Yep, right around a half a month left on the clip contest for the Blockstream Jade hardware wallet. All you got to do is go to Fountain, use Fountain, find this show, episode 816 or later, or Director Detour, any episode of Director Detour, and make a clip. Make a clip. It's easy. It's easy. Make a clip. I'll see it. I'll put you on the list, and you'll get entered into a drawing in February for a Blockstream Jade hardware wallet to keep all your Bitcoin nice, safe, and secure. Chris Dixon and Jim are battling head to head for entries into the drawing. entries into the drawing, and they right now I think they're going to be stacking the ballot box. So we will see what happens. Still trying to figure out how I'm going to give it away. What process? I'm guessing it's going to be a random dial spinner. We'll fire up a live real quick and spin the wheel and see who lands on that Blockstream Jade. So if you want a chance, all you need is one. All you need is $1 in a dream, and you don't even need $1. All you need to do is make a little clip, and you can have a dream at winning that Blockstream Jade. Through Other Life says clips, pew, pew. Nah, magazines. Pip says, "Oh yeah, when Target sent out the baby stuff for that teen, and the dad flipped his shit." Yeah, but she was pregnant. Morning, Hosk. Morning for Northern California. How's it going? And Hunter over on Twitch. Hunter says, "I'm still missing clips." What do you mean you're missing clips? I don't know. Anyway, guys, we had a big old snowstorm. I think it was last Friday. For his big pew stick, he's missing clips. Last Friday we got a big old snowstorm, and it actually turned out. It also turned out that the weather forecasters were actually right. They predicted 6 to 8, I think, in the end as it got closer. Totals went up and down. Originally, I think it was 3 inches on Friday only. And good morning, John Palmer. Thanks for stopping in. Good morning, good day, and good week to you. Good morning over on Noster. Thanks for dropping in with a comment over there. Hello. So it started out Friday, they predicted 3 inches of snow, and then it went to like 5 inches on Friday, and then 1 or 2 inches on Thursday night. And man, it was just like the forecast had just a blue bar all the way across Friday. It was supposed to snow all day, and I was skeptical. Haas asked if is it rare for that area. From what I understand, yeah, but the last 2 years we've been here, we've gotten pretty decent snowstorms. Last year was pretty rough, and I have it on my notes to get to the difference between the 2 years. This year, the forecast, it kept changing, so it would go up and down. I think at any point we had a predicted between 3 inches, and then, man, I think at one point I saw 7 on Friday and 3. So we were pushing up to 10 in the forecast at one point, and then it kept changing constantly, just normal. And so I was figuring it was going to be a nothing burger, and we were going to get a dusting, or we wouldn't get anything. But the weather in the days coming up to it were pretty cold. The ground was pretty cold. It wasn't that soaking wet, warm, where you get the temperature drop and then the snow and it just melts as it touches. It was ideal for the snow sticking. And as it got closer, it looked like it was more and more legit that we were going to get a decent amount of snow. And we went to bed on Thursday night, and Friday we woke up, and it had definitely started overnight. It snowed overnight. I took a video mid-morning on Friday and posted that up a couple different places where I just used my hand to rough measure. I don't even know how wide my hand is, but it was a hand width or more deep on the bumper of the truck. Yeah, we ended up getting well over 6 inches. I went back out with a tape measure. It was we were over 6 inches at that point, and it just kept coming. So I would say we got probably 8 in the end, because it snowed all day Friday. and then it tapered off, and it all stuck. So we had a ton of snow. Right now things are good. They actually canceled school in the county around here today. I think that some of the back roads, some of the hilly roads might still be wet and freezing overnight as all the snow melts off, because it just in the shade, like yesterday over the weekend, it was nice. Yesterday it was in the mid 40s and pushing 50 almost, I believe. And Saturday wasn't bad. Everything was melting. Corey went out on Saturday, was playing around in the yard, made herself a snowman. Unlike a lot of people around here, it was the perfect snow for a snowman. That melty, wet, heavy stuff that sticks together real well. So she made herself a little snowman in the front yard. He's melting away rather rapidly. It was a decent weekend. That was the big difference between last year's storm and this year's storm. Last year's storm, it started snowing and the temperature kept dropping. So the snow came, and then it froze. It was melting as it was coming down, and then it started to freeze. So it got a layer of ice, then it got snow on top of it, and then it stayed cold, pretty cold for a week or so. And it never got really warm enough to let everything melt off. And they don't have the equipment here to treat the ice on the roads. They don't have the equipment here to plow the roads. So it was just an ongoing mess of melting and freezing, melting in the sun, freezing, getting slick on top. And it just continued like that for a week. The roads here, the road outside the cab, or the camper, and around town, we went on a little drive yesterday. The roads are pretty much clear at this point. I think that with the water running off and the temperatures fluctuating, it's freezing at night. So people the schools are being careful and canceled. But it seems better. We have some cold weather coming up at the beginning of next week. This week's supposed to be warm. Well, our snow will be gone this week for sure. We're supposed to get some rain. We're supposed to be up in the 50s, high 40s and 50s, and then around freezing overnight. And then it looks like the beginning of next week we're going to be back down into the teens overnight, which is not fun here in the camper. Teens overnight. Once we get into the mid 20s, low 20s, and teens overnight, that starts our wood stove rotation shift, and that's just no fun for Corey and I. We can keep it comfortable in here. The temperature is what it is. It's excuse me. we can keep it tolerable in here for sure, especially with blankets and extra clothes. But the lack of sleep really gets to us both. We'll go through a stretch where the weather will be cold, and 3 or 4 days into it, we look at each other and we're just like, when is this going to be done? This is stupid. We're not enjoying this because our stove is so small. We got about a 2 to 3 hour window that it'll burn. So we're rotating every 4 hours, getting up to make sure that stove doesn't go out and it stays warm. And yeah, can't wait to have a bigger stove. The cabin build will definitely include a bigger stove with a bigger burn chamber that will hold larger pieces of wood, and also more quantity of wood to keep that rolling for a little longer than 2 hours. So that was Snowmageddon. Like I said, Corey made herself a snowman. I did a video on our Starlink heater, fired that up just in preparation for the snow coming, because we were working, and Corey was going to be working. I had some interviews to do, and we're going to needed the internet on Friday, so we fired that heater on Thursday night, and it held tight. No problem whatsoever. Starlink, if you're thinking about Starlink, you should let me know. I have a code that you can get your second month free also rewards us with a month free. I can get that to you whenever. All you got to do is reach out to me through email, info@thelotsproject.com, or on any of the socials that I'm on, Telegram, t.me/lotschat, or I'm around. So you can find me. I can get you a free month of Starlink, and it helps us because we get a free month too. Haas says, damn. Good morning, Jim, on over on YouTube now. Haas says, damn, dogs have fun in it. The dogs absolutely love it. The dogs, Norman absolutely loves the snow. And I feel bad. I mean, Walter and Norman especially. Clyde likes it. He gets the zoomies when he goes out in the snow, but Norman and Walter especially were snow dogs. And being in Minnesota, they absolutely loved it. I remember Walter used to go out when it would be well below zero, like -15, -20. He'd go lay in a snowbank and just look at you and not want to come in. Always rolling around, getting that snow in the deep undercoat of his fur, and he loved it. Norman, when he sees snow, all he wants to do is prance around in it and get the zoomies and eat it. I posted up a short from the snowstorm with him walking along, and it was about every minute or so he would just dive down and take a scoop of snow off the road with his mouth, chomp on it, walk along, and then just casually just dive his head into the snow and grab another mouthful. So do the dogs love it? Absolutely. Clyde thinks it's great, but he gets cold so easy with no fur. Hunter says they got a 1/4 inch of ice. Yeah. We didn't get the ice here this year. So it was cold enough when it started snowing that we didn't get a whole lot of melt on the bottom, and the snow covered it up, and it was relatively just snow. Didn't see a whole lot of vehicle traffic out on Friday, but the ones that did go by and left tracks, it was all slushy tracks. Bless you, Corey. It was all slushy tracks and not really hard underneath. And so, yeah. Wilder Life says she used to have a small stove there and it sucked. Yeah. I mean, we really didn't have a choice. We, if we wanted to put one in here, that was really the option we had. And it's great. We definitely use it. We use the crap out of it. I am proud to say we haven't used our propane heater since we took off. Knock on wood. Got my wooden desk here knocking on it. Haven't used the propane furnace in the camper since we took off. And that makes me happy because I'm not a big fan of the propane heat in here. It doesn't seem the wood stove. It's hard to describe. It just feels like a thicker heat, a warmer heat. I don't know what the word is, but the propane heat just feels like it blows on you from the vent, and the minute it stops, it's just like gone. There's no staying power to the heat. I think the wood stove, obviously the wood stove radiates heat from the metal. Hunter says it's drier. It is drier. I think there is a big misconception, though. I see it all the time, and I was under this assumption too for a long time that and Hunter said it right there. Good morning, Chris Dixon. Thanks for popping in. Hunter says, I think propane puts more moisture in the air. Well, here's the deal. Jim says wood stove's a chunk of metal. Yeah, no shit, but I'm talking about in the other room. The radiant heat, I think, warms the air up more, where the propane forced air just blows a warm stream of air, and it doesn't radiate out the warmth. But bringing up the moisture in the air. Now, walk through this with me for a second. Everybody in these RV forums, they are talking about how much moisture the propane heaters put into their camper. And I was all on board. I said, "Oh yeah, that makes sense. Propane, when it burns, you got your buddy heaters, you got this and that. It releases moisture as it combusts the propane." And then I read an article once that was like, "You're full of shit." And I it took me a second, but think about the fact that when, I don't know if you've ever seen a propane furnace or a RV propane furnace, the propane doesn't get burned inside. The propane gets burned in a burner, gets exhausted outside, and the blower blows air across a heat exchanger that has the propane burners inside it. So theorizing that propane puts moisture into the internal cabin air of the RV is kind of impossible. When you cook, the propane's burning inside from the stovetop burner. The propane burner, the flame is concealed outside. Chris Dixon says the gas isn't warming you, it warms a plenum and the fan takes the heat from it. And Corey drops in and says, "Well, it gets moist as shit in here when I cook." That's because I'm drooling because it smells so good and it's gonna taste so good, sweetheart. No, that's because the propane is actually burning on the stovetop. So there's that. So I don't like to every time I see it in the full-time RVer forums, I just want to shake somebody, but I just scroll by. I find myself way less way less anxiety when I'm arguing with people on the internet. Good morning, Seattle says product of propane combustion is water and CO2, but it is meh as a heat source. Yeah, the products, the moisture and the CO2 when in a propane furnace get exhausted to the outside. Jim says Brian's hot air, that's where the moisture is coming from. Very true. That's the other thing that people don't think about, is that they have multiple people exhaling moisture. And Hunter says leaky ducts. Man, if you got a leaky plenum in your propane furnace, you got bad news going on. You got very, very, very bad news. Oh, so that is that. Let me see. So that was Snowmageddon. Like I said, I think we definitely took 8 inches. Definitely took 8 inches. Hunter says, I wonder why propane is different. Different than what? Why is propane different than what? Jim says, check those CO detector batteries. Correct. Definitely. I mean, RVs are leaky. Hunter says, different than wood heat. Well, the wood heat is dry. The wood heat for sure is drier. It's a radiant heat. It heats up the metal box. The metal box radiates the heat out. It's consuming the moisture. The heat is different. It just is. I don't know. It has to be the fuel source. The propane heat just isn't. It doesn't feel like it puts out the calories. Maybe it's Jim says it's a slower heat. It's a slower heat to heat up. It's a slower heat to cool down. Maybe the blowing of the heat in the forced air is dissipating the temperature gradient, if that makes sense. It's really warm right at the exhaust, but as it's blowing air, it's like taking a fan on a hot day. It can be blowing hot air at you, but it's still blowing blowing that heat into the air and circulating it around. And I think that it might dissipate faster. I don't know. Never did an in-depth scientific study on why the wood heats the camper warmer, but I'm just happy that we haven't used the propane heat in 3 years. That's if I can stay away from it, I definitely will. That being said, we'll probably put propane heat in most of the cabins at Delinquent Scully, besides the one we're staying in. We've come to the conclusion that having people staying in cabins that don't know what they're doing with a wood burning stove and putting them in a little wood box with a wood stove that they've never worked or tried or been accustomed to using might not be the best idea. So that is that. Let me see what else is on my list here. Okay. I mentioned the Blockstream Jade in the clip contest. One thing that Blueberry posted over in the Telegram chat, and I didn't even notice it, and no one said it. No one mentioned it. Not my product rep, or I didn't get the email, or I missed the email. But the fold card. My Canadian friends are not able to use this, but the fold card, if you're using the fold card, and I don't know, I don't necessarily know if it's for standard fold or only fold plus, because I'm a member fold plus, and when I go look at it, it's the fold plus bonuses. But right now, Blockstream, the maker of the Jade, if you go and buy a Blockstream gift card on Fold, that's the biggest way I'm stacking sats on Fold. And if you want to join Fold or you want to learn more about it, you can scroll down into the description and find my link. You'll get a little bonus when you sign up and start using a debit card. I'll get a bonus when you sign up and start using a debit card. It's a fantastic win-win. But Fold, if you buy a gift card to purchase a Jade Plus, so they have two different price points on the Jade Plus. One with the plastic case, similar to the regular Jade. It is $149.99, I believe. And then the Jade Plus, which comes with the metal case, which is the one that they sent me out, which is it's really cool. It's a really slick looking device. $170 for your hardware, wallet, security. If you buy the gift card to buy that on Fold, you get 10% return in sats. So $170, you get $17 in Satoshis back when you buy that gift card. That's $17 off. That's 10% back to you. Not 10% off the price, but it's 10% return in Bitcoin for buying the gift card. And then when you head on over to the Blockstream site and you use the Lots project, or you use my link to get there, you get another 10% off the price. So that's pretty good deal. Pretty good deal. Check it out. Fold and Blockstream. Let me see who's over in the comments here. Chris Dixon says, that being said, it's good to test it once in a while to be sure it still works properly. Gotcha. It does. John Palmer says you could do diesel heaters. Jim says burn off the dust. Get the mud daubers out of the exhaust way. And Jim says diesel heaters seem to be all the rage. Diesel heaters are all the rage for sure. And I think if before we went and used the propane heater for our RV, I'd probably run over, if we can, probably run over if we can get to Jamie Pings. He's got some diesel heaters on reserve, and I'd probably fire one of those up before I even went with the propane. So That's where this propane furnace that we have is on my list. It's been wonky since we bought the camper. I actually, when we got it home, I ended up having to take the furnace out and take it back to them because the control motor was going bad. And so I just have never had a good experience with it. And we've been using the wood heat since day one. Jim says product review on the Jade Plus. Yeah, let me dive into it a little bit more. Or are you talking about the diesel heater? I haven't used Jamie's diesel heater. Hunter says he's been getting oil heater builds in his feed for some reason. Oil heaters are interesting. Oil burners, where I grew up, I knew a couple people that had them in the barn, in the shop, old oil burners. Not the most environmentally healthy, but man, it'll warm you up. You get a slow drip used oil heater. That'll work for you. So what do we got? Corey and I were watching some Amazon. Excuse me. And we know there's been a buzz. If you haven't noticed it, if you haven't noticed the rumblings starting again as we get closer to Orange Man taking the reins with his bravado and his claims that the talk of Greenland being acquired in whatever way that happens has started. The the acquisition of Canada as the 51st state. I don't know if acquisition is quite the right word, but the talk of Canada and the United States and Mexico becoming a union again, and yeah, go down some of those roads. If you haven't ever dabbled in seeing what's going on with that, with the U.S., Canada, Mexico union, I've seen a lot of different stuff posted lately, and it's been tough to. John Palmer says adoption of Canada. It's been tough to dive in far enough to do a complete show on it. I've been taking notes. We'll see here closer when it actually starts rolling out. But basically, I've seen a couple different theories: strategic reserves, strategic resources, military routes for World War III, shipping routes, all sorts of different reasons why. Jim says I have not heard him speak since the election. I've been able to avoid the news. Yes. This stuff has been sent to me. Yeah. Hunter says I like how Trump comes out with these ideas, and then the defense person was like, "Yeah, that's not a bad idea," right? And Dixon back on the diesel heater says I've had a Webestow bunk heater in my garage to keep it above freezing for years. 5 gallons last a week, and it keeps the small space about 40. Nice. And John Palmer is talking about the CUM, Canada, US, Mexico. Yum yum, calm, yum yum. But anyway, there's been all these different. There's all these different theories and philosophies and this, that, and the other thing. And you got Justin Trudeau, baby Castro stepping down. You got a new incoming regime in Canada. You got a new incoming regime in the US. There's there's a lot of stuff that makes the conspiracy theorists wrap the tinfoil a little tighter. There is a lot of things that could possibly go on. There are a lot of false flags. There's a lot of all sorts of shit out there. And Jim's wondering if Texas is annexed yet. I think if we add Canada on, we'd be more willing to drop Texas off to keep that 50 states. We wouldn't have to change the flag or anything. John Palmer says Panama. Yes, there's Panama. There's all sorts of stuff going on. But with all this in the news, Corey and I are sitting and watching. Corey and I are sitting watching Amazon the other night, which there are a ton of great movies. One, which I think it might be foreshadowing, was Canadian Bacon. If you haven't seen Canadian Bacon, you should check it out. John Candy. We went on a John Candy marathon there. The one night we watched The Great Outdoors and Canadian Bacon back to back. But Jesus. But anyway, as we're watching Amazon the other night, this commercial comes on that says it's all about Ontario, Canada, not California or wherever there's Ontario's. It's a commercial touting all the things that Ontario has as far as resources and power production, and I wasn't really sure what the other stuff was. I wasn't paying attention that much. But all of a sudden, at the end, it was like, Ontario, Canada, the wonderful neighbor right next door, or something like that. And I was like, that's odd. What an odd thing to say. You always see the Bart Simpson the Bart Simpson memes when they say just odd stuff in the news, and there's these offhanded comments because they tell us what's going on right in front of our face. They tell us what's going on and we don't hear it, or we don't believe it when we do hear it, but it's always that, what an odd thing to say. Why is Amazon running commercials about Ontario being a great neighbor? All the benefits of Ontario, all the great things about Ontario. Why would they be airing that in the United States with what's going on in the news? What? Pip says, isn't Baby Castro stepping down due to minor abuse allegations? As in very small abuse allegations or abuse of small minors allegations? I don't know. Hey, Chris Dixon, Canadian Farmstead, I think you're driving. Good morning, Corey. Is Baby Castro a kitty diddler? Jim says just tourism marketing. It wasn't. I don't think it was. It wasn't touristy stuff. It was like their power grid. It was infrastructure stuff. It was I don't think it was tourism. Chris Dixon says, for my information, he doesn't care. I was just curious. Pip asked the question. I'm just trying to provide the answers. Canadian Farmstead says, if they didn't mention me, the great things they didn't mention you and the great things about Ontario. Yeah, on Amazon it was like we have wonderful power infrastructure, we have great this, that, and the other thing, and oh yeah, we have Canadian Farmstead. They had me sold until they talked about Canadian Farmstead, which, by the way, after Orange Man takes office, you're gonna have to be the 51st state farmstead and have to deal with that shit. So, but I thought it was very odd timing. I thought that the timing of John Candy's movies, the Canadian Bacon movie, the Great Outdoors, which if you guys haven't seen the Great Outdoors, if you have, I have a question for you. Why do they reference both Canada and Minnesota and Wisconsin in the Great Outdoors? Where do they actually go on their vacation? Do they go to Canada, or do they go to northern Minnesota, or do they go to northern Wisconsin? Because they seem to interchangeably reference it in the movie, but I don't know. Welcome, Canada, to the United States Union. It's going to be a great world. Good morning. Seattle said BlackRock missed the SEC filing today. Yeah, don't worry. They'll pay somebody off. It won't matter. And currency collapse underway. Yeah. Shocker. I mean, you say that as if it hasn't been happening for years. Yeah, I don't even want to put a number in front of the years, but it's been a while. Yeah. The commercial kind of tripped me out. All of a sudden, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I put a poll up in the Telegram group the other day about Ross Ulbricht and Orange Man's big had some if Ross Ulbricht was going to be released day one. If you remember back in the election cycle, if you're a fan of Ross Ulbricht and think that he got royally shafted in the butthole with what's gone on and his being made of an example of and getting a completely off the wall sentence for what he was doing, Trump rallied the crypto crew, rallied the crypto space, and promised to let Ross out day one. We're going to get him out of jail, blah, blah, blah. Do you think it's going to happen? I put a poll up. I said, yeah, day one. Yes, it's going to happen, but not day one. And then no, because politicians always lie. I'm in the camp that it gets forgot about. I think that a lot of crypto folks will make a lot of news or a lot of noise. I think it's not any benefit to him to do it after the fact. I just don't. I don't see what's in it for him, and I don't know. I voted no, that I don't think it's going to happen at all. 0 people voted for day one, and then it was a 44 to 56. 44 yes, but not day one, and 56% said nope, politicians always lie. So there's that. Good morning, Seattle wants to know the over-under on Free Ross. I don't know. I wouldn't put money on Orange Man doing or not doing anything. But I also saw as I was getting ready for the show this morning, I see HuffPo did a story yesterday, 4 hours ago. Massive reversal. Hey, your tea's done. Trump ripped for already backpedaling on key campaign promises. The audience wants to let you know the tea is ready too.
Sorry, I had to go back to work. Sorry, it took a minute, folks.
She apologizes for the teapot. Trump rolling back on promises already, and I think this is a little rough. It says critics are putting President-elect Donald Trump on blast after key advisors appear to be back away from a major campaign promise. Trump has repeatedly claimed he would end the war between Russia and Ukraine within 24 hours of taking office or even sooner. All he's got to do is stop the money laundering and the war will stop. There's that. All right, let me roll up here and see. Chris Dixon says, can't answer the question, but most John Candy movies had some Canadian reference in them. Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Reference, but it was like interchangeable where they were, whether they were in Canada, northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin. I mean, I know it's one and the same. I know they all act and sound the same, but it was just kind of confusing when I was hearing it. Jim asked, good morning, Seattle. What happens if you miss the filing? Do you get delisted? Oh, they're going to rug. That's going to be the next rug pull, is going to be the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF is going to go bye-bye. Sorry. Pimp wants to know if the LA fires are arson or ignorance. Why not both? Pimp says Ross got boned by the feds with a sandpaper condom. Man. Ulbrich, yeah. Talk about the shit that can happen to you. Chris Dixon says politicians seem to only do when they're on their way out, and it's irreversible. And Jim doesn't trust Trump at all. Yeah, I don't know. He's on. I don't pay it. First of all, I don't pay attention enough anymore to make a real educated decision for sure. I can have my thoughts and theories and things I see, but it's based in just observation and no real substance behind it. So it's a weird kind of anomaly that he's taking office for his second term with a term off in between. What is he coming back for? What is he planning to do, and what is the motivation behind it? I don't know. John Palmer likes the teapot sound. Well, good. The fires in California, that I believe they said they were arson. I believe I haven't been following a whole lot about that once it started rolling. Actually, before it started rolling, Jim says, does a leopard change its spots? And John Palmer says, maybe he really cares. About what? I'm sure he really cares about something. We all saw how draining the swamp went. Dixon says ego is the biggest reason. I can't say that isn't true. I wouldn't disagree with you there. But I'll never know that the real truth. So John says maybe he really cares about America. Monday morning comedy hour here on the Last Project Morning Show. Cares about America. I think that they have said, didn't they arrest some guy that started the fires in California? I have a feel. I wanna say that I read that or started seeing memes about it, and I just didn't. Not my circus there with the fires. It's a horrible thing. I understand that people lost a lot. There were millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars and homes and infrastructure taken out by these fires, completely mismanaged, in my opinion. I am not a wildlife or a forestry expert. I am not a firefighter. I am not a forest firefighter. I am not a city planner. But if my city was on fire and I had a fucking ocean next to me, I'd be dumping some of that shit on it to put it out. Now I get science, I get corrosion, I get salting the soil, I get it all. But I think a big dose of salt water is a hell of a lot better than the whole city burning down. That's my opinion. I don't have to make those calls. I made that call. I said that a while back, early in this, when they were saying they were out of water. And everybody was like, you can't do that. You can't do that. And then the Canadians come down and they fucking scoop her right out of the ocean and say, fuck it. This is how we put it out. It turns out that that California was dumping some pretty nasty shit that may or may not have been worse than may or may not have been worse than saltwater. It all lends itself very conveniently to the same theories that went behind the Hawaii wildfires. The laser attacks, guys. The laser attacks. John Palmer said salt would not be as bad as red phosphorus. Yes. John Palmer says stars lost their homes, damn it. And Chris Dixon says for just $150 a day, you too could help a celebrity rebuild. The 15-minute city discussion came up quite a bit in things. I've just seen it pop up here with these wildflowers. We'll just call them wildflowers because that's what I want to call them today. Wildfires in California. It fits. I can't say it doesn't fit. I think California has been on a path for this for a long time. They've been in such an eco warrior mode that they haven't taken care of their ecosystem. I've seen quite a few videos, especially on Noster, of people prior to the fires. They were like, look at this. These forests haven't been managed. They haven't been cleaned up. If this sparks off, there's going to be huge fires. This isn't the way you do this. You have to manage forests. You can't just leave them alone and let nature take its course, because when nature takes its course, this is what happens. When you don't take care of the deadfall, when you don't take care of the dead shit on the forest floor, when you don't take and manage this as man would need to manage it to interact with nature, nature says, fuck it, we'll clean it up ourselves. Whether that be sparked by an arsonist or whether that be sparked by a lightning strike, when you don't clean that shit up, it gets cleaned up one way or the other. Good morning. Seattle says billions, maybe $1 trillion. We'll see. It's supposed to get windier for a few more days. So be it. Rewilded Life says BlackRock as well, and then water rights. What a great excuse to control all the water and all the forests. Pip says, didn't Cali change the residential code to be multifamily homes in the burned areas? Possibly. I don't know. Dixon says they learned fuck all from the Jasper fires. They don't. I want to say they don't learn, but maybe they learn more. Rewilded Life says Ben Fox been talking about this. And Good Morning Seattle says build up and densify. They can do whatever they want. I don't fucking care. I'm not going. This is really, really, in the end, when it really came down to it, in the end, California, Hawaii, these fires, don't give a fuck. I really don't. I feel bad for the people that lost their shit. They were living in a tinderbox. If my neighbor where we're staying here started piling deadfalls, when if they started piling burnable material and then started acting shady about fire resources, I'd probably either clean the shit up, take care of my property and somehow protect myself, or get the fuck out. Jim says blame global warming, climate change, and government, but it comes down to people. People make decisions every day to let things slide. There is that. Rewilders likes problems better doing this everywhere with the forest land. What are you gonna do about it? I just gonna live my life. I'm going to hopefully be observant enough of my surroundings, both very, very locally and regionally, to make sure that that things are in semi-decent order. But what are you really going to what are you really going to do about it? You need to be aware. Okay. Pip says, thank the universe that the parents moved out of Long Beach when he was 2. I'm glad you didn't grow up in California either, Pip. Florida's bad enough. Florida, man. I don't know. Is it a it's a very insidious plan. I struggled with it with the Hawaii stuff. And now with this, to believe that humans would do that to each other. But I know better that they would. I know that they would. I hope that they wouldn't, but I really have a feeling that they would. We've seen throughout history that that governments do some pretty fucked up shit to get what they want. They also do shit inadvertently that causes some pretty nasty shit. They also do some stuff on purpose that has spiraling side effects that come out of it. Jim says, I've heard about Santa Ana winds and fires in Cali for as long as I can remember. This is not new. This is not new. There is a solution, though. There is a solution. But there's a lot of stuff in the way of the actual solution. So it is what it is. Pip hasn't wrestled any gators yet. So I don't have an opinion on the wildfires, really. I don't know. I feel that I feel that I saw that they arrested somebody. That doesn't mean anything either. That it was arson, but burning a building down, starting a forest fire, unless the forest is wholly mismanaged, doesn't turn into this. Holy crap. Sorry. The coffee was went down the wrong pipe there. Jim says next will be mudslides because the trees and brush are gone. Also has happened before. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. As far as the Hawaii thing in relation to the 15-minute smart cities, have they started any of that development yet? Because that was a hot topic. Pardon the relationship there. After the fires in California or in Hawaii, and even during while they were still burning, people were screaming 15-minute city, 15-minute city. This is what's happening. This is why it's happening. This is how it started. Space lasers and energy weapons. And I'm not saying that any of that isn't true, but it's been a while. I don't even remember when that happened. It's been a while. Has there been any progress on the 15-minute cities? I don't know. I don't know. I don't. If any of you guys know, I sorry, I'm just reading Pip's comment here. I don't know yes or no on that. If there's been any updated developments, or do we have to? Are we? Do we need to wait for the dust to settle? Wilder Life said Trump supported them last I knew. Supported them or not, has it developed started yet? Like I would think if that was the end goal, it would already be the infrastructure would already be being laid for development of that as soon as possible after the fact. I don't know. Anyway, moving on a little bit. Got to meet a new community member, hopefully, maybe, possibly, the other day, last week. We have been using deadfall wood to run our wood stove since for this year so far. Started to grab some extra wood that Mr. Ping had. It wasn't quite seasoned enough. I think in a big wood stove, it would have been perfectly fine. For our wood stove, we need pretty dry stuff to keep her rolling, just because we don't get that big of a coal bed, and there isn't a whole lot of a drying time in there. And so when we used it, it would burn eventually. It would get light up. It didn't put off a lot of heat, build up creosote really fast, and clog the screen. So I needed to find different options. And at that point, the easement road back, we had a lot of rain. It was muddy. There was somebody stuck on the road. I didn't have a lot of time to get back there and search for new deadfall, because I was quickly running out of the stuff that I had found that was really nice. And if you know anything about deadfall in the woods, you can cut into one, and it's perfectly solid of perfectly dried wood that dried in log form, whether that be standing or on the ground. And you can cut into one right next to it that looks exactly the same, and it's all rotted from the inside out. So finding these really nice, hard, dead pieces of tree it works well. It works well for our situation, because I can then slice 6 inch slices off it, then split that up, and I'm not having to take pre-split wood and knock it down to 6 inches to use in the stove. And a lot of times then split it again because our stove is so small. So we kind of we were running low on deadfall. I still have some left, but I wasn't able to get out there to scout for more, so I started looking for other wood sources. The pile that Jamie has is probably a year out or less. It's not that bad. It's just it doesn't put off as much heat. And we were going to get pretty cold. We were going to be down in the teens. We're looking at some more overnights in the teens coming up. And so I started poking around on Craigslist. Now, we never really wanted to buy a whole lot of wood. Like, there's people that sell cords of wood, face cords of wood, all sorts of different size amounts of wood here, firewood, because you don't need heat quite a bit. And a lot of people use wood here because it's cheap and you can find it and whatever. And speaking of that, the price of wood here compared to Minnesota is phenomenal. It's absolutely great. So I started poking around on Craigslist or on Facebook, Marketplace, just in case I needed to pick up some wood. Quite a few people close, and then I saw one guy that just kept saying, "I got free firewood. Come and get it. It's been sitting for 2 years. It's cut, it's split, it's stacked for 2 years. Come and take it. Come and take it." And I sent him a message, and I wanted to make sure that I wasn't taking from someone that couldn't afford it. I'm not rich. I'm not rich by any means. But I can buy fuel to heat my place. If I needed to buy a cord of wood and figure out what to do with it, where to stack it, how to manage it, I can do that. I sent a message to him and I said, I'll come and take the wood. You're trying to get it cleaned up. You're trying to get it out of the way. You're trying to cycle through it. Like, what's your deal? Or are you just trying to give it to people that need it? He's like, I have plenty. He says, I've been doing this for a couple of years now. I've never run out. I constantly comment on people's posts looking for firewood, and either they don't show up or I just have more than I could ever need. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna keep looking. Maybe I'll get a hold of you if it comes to it. And so this and that and the other thing, and it really turned out that I didn't have time to get out to the property to look for more. And I sent him a message and I said, you know what? If you got payment apps, I'd be happy to come and grab a load. I'll shoot you some money. He's like, well, before you send me any money, definitely come out and look at the wood, see if it's what you like or what you want, if it'll work for you. And I was telling him about the small stove, and so he showed up and we got talking. He basically started in an RV on his property, has been doing clearing. He's got tons of raised bed gardens. He's planted trees, fruit nut trees everywhere. He's been to Self-Reliance Festival. He is NRA certified instructor, I believe, and he works for himself, works from home, teaching online classes. He super nice guy. We go, we look at the stacks and stacks and stacks of wood, and he's in the similar situation that we are, but even more, that he's been cutting down trees and clearing his property to put his stuff in, and he's just been stacking it and seasoning it for 3 years now, and he's got more wood than he could ever care to use. He's got a bunch that he has for his use, and then he has all the rest of it stacked neatly on pallets and seasoned. And so I said, man, I'll take some. I'll throw you some money. We got chatting, and I think he's going to be a new community member. I think he's going to be a new delinquent. He's only he's about 45 minutes to an hour away from DG, but he seems interested in some of the classes and things we're going to be doing there. And so we chatted, Corey and I and Gil, we chatted for a while and took a little bit of a couple wheelbarrows full of the wood he had. And we started burning it. It burned really well. And I looked the next morning when I had light. We were over there in the evening, and it didn't look as though I had taken as much as I thought I had. And so I sent him a message. And I said, dude, mind if I come back for a little bit more of that? mind if I come back for a little bit more of that? And he's like, no, perfect. Come on over. So I've taken a couple of truck beds full of wood. Not a couple truck beds, about a half a truck bed full of wood from his place. But more than that, I found someone that that'll probably be a new community member. Jim says, sounds like a wealth of info as well as wood. Yeah, it was a wealth of info, and it was sad to hear him talk. I don't want to say sad. We got talking about local people, local like-minded people, and you would think here in Tennessee, there would be a lot of interest for the things that we're interested in, and Gil and I seem to be right on the same page as far as leave me the fuck alone, and I just want to do my own thing, and take care of myself. And he's tried to make connections. He's tried to involve himself in community. He has had very bad experiences. I don't want to say bad experiences. He has a sour taste in his mouth because he's gone and helped. He's put value out there. He's gone and helped at work days. He's gone and helped other folks out. And when he asked people to come to his work day, nobody showed up. And I think that's fucking bullshit. But it happens. It happens. It really disgruntles people from putting themselves out there, I think. I've offered my services to him. Not only because he helped us out in a jam with the dry firewood, just because I feel that I think if he gets screwed over anymore, you might lose a valuable resource. Might really lose a valuable resource. Haas says, "Yep, that's why I don't do it." I paid him. I sent him money for the firewood we took, and I want to come over and help. I want to show him that there's other people out there that will come over and help because they appreciate the value somebody brings to the community. I hope that he comes to Delinquent's Gully for Gully Days, or to a class, or just to see the place and chat. Definitely going to keep in touch with him and foster that relationship, because I think, like Jim said, he's got a hell of a lot of information that he's got a hell of a lot of information that he can provide, and he's more hands. He's got a long career in mining. He teaches mining safety classes, and yeah, I think he was former Marine. Can come in handy. Pivotal part of always integral parts. John says, "Tier, I'm such a softie." It's not really that. I don't like people. I don't like people feel like they put themselves out there and it'll never come back. I did. I try to put value out there. Right now, I'm working on some stuff with podcasters I've been meeting about value for value and podcast 2.0 network, and understanding that if you put value out into the world, that it'll come back to you somehow, some way. John says, just the way it is, everybody's too busy. But they shouldn't be. If you've received value from someone, I don't think you should feel obligated. I think you should be incensed to go help them. I don't think you're obligated to do it. I think inside you should either be hell-bent on helping them somehow or someone else. The pay it forward model or the return in favor model, either way, someone put themselves out there. Everyone's way too busy. Well, they weren't too busy to come and help you. So the fact that this guy has gone and helped others and hasn't seen any return his value that he's put out there. I mean, I'm sure he's seen value return. I can't say that I haven't gone to a work day that I haven't learned something or made a connection or something like that. So it's not just a tit for tat type of thing. But this has been a couple times for the guy. I think he changed his ideas on how he wants to put value out there, in the fact that he wants to keep people warm, that he has the resources. He has the resources sitting there. And instead of just sitting on them, letting them rot away into the ground, he's trying to get it out there. He's trying to keep people warm. And by default, he was able to help me out. I wasn't looking for free resources. I wasn't looking for a break. I wasn't looking because I couldn't afford it. It was a convenience thing and a quantity thing. When he's giving it away for free, it isn't requiring me to take a cord of wood. It's requiring me to go over and grab what I can fit in my truck and bring it back here and use it as I can. I don't know. Rewilder Life says, nice. I love building community and I feel his pain. I've gotten jaded over this very issue. I think we all have. And I think when you have a community like Delinquent's Gully, in this area, I think when you find someone that has been jaded, I think when you find somebody that's put their value out there and they feel like it hasn't really been returned to them, that it doesn't take much. I've offered my services. He's got more trees to cut. I said, man, call me up. I'll come over. I'll cut trees with you for a day. He says he has a neighbor kid that he employs to help him split wood and things like that. I was like, that's great. But when you got to drop trees, if you got a bunch to drop, let's knock it out together. Give me a call, stay in contact. And hopefully he does. And I'm definitely going to be reaching back out as we have stuff planned at Delinquent's Gully, as we have meetups or anything going on out there. I'm definitely going to put him in the loop. So I appreciate the contact I made. You never know when you're going to meet somebody like that. I didn't know pulling in. I didn't know pulling into his driveway that he'd been to Self-Reliance Festival, probably at a Self-Reliance Festival I was at. And I told him that I spoke at one and that we've been vendors at one. And he was like, wow, small world. Jim says, don't wait for the call. Keep in mind, you won't regret it. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. With the next cold snap coming and looking at my supply, I might see him again. I might throw him some more money and go take some more of that wood he's trying to get rid of. Or I might just stop by and say hi. I might just shoot him a message and foster that relationship. Because yeah, I think there's a good community member there. And it's unfortunate when you have people that are willing to put in the effort that it doesn't come back to them. I've been there. Rewilder Life says it's partially why we're moving closer to our community that is more like-minded. He told me that he's got one group of people or a couple or that he interacts with quite a while, but they're on the other side of I-40. That's an hour away. Jim says, with all that wood sitting there has to be mushrooms popping up. Yeah, there's tons of mushrooms on it. There's tons of fungus on the wood. We have, Jim, Delinquent's Gully has more fungal activity on it than I've seen in a long time. Long time. Every time it rains, when it's in that temperature zone, there's mushrooms popping out everywhere. There's so much deadfall and material for the fungus to consume and grow on that it is just unbelievable. The mycelial webs in the soil at Delinquent's Gully have to be It's just, if you see it, if you come up here and you walk around the property, especially in the spring or the fall when it's wet and like that temperature swing is in the right band, you can watch them grow as you're standing there. It's phenomenal. So I'm hoping the mushroom logs we did out there survive and thrive as well as the natural occurring fungus that's out there. But yeah, he's got a bunch of mushrooms on his stuff. Nothing I've seen that I would eat, but yeah, there's a ton. Life says mine are an hour and a half, but will be 40 minutes. I'm 20 minutes from him. Delinquent's Gully is probably halfway between him and what he's talking about is the closest people that he's community members with. So hopefully it works. Things work in weird ways like that, where you just meet somebody that it I don't want to say it's meant to be, but we've crossed paths before. When he told me the timeline, I believe that we would have had to have been at the Self-Reliance Festival he was at. So already crossed paths, didn't meet then. Sometimes they just have to really put you face to face in a conversation to meet each other. So there's that. I'm testing a new app for those of you that like to stack sats. For those of you that see the value in stacking sats, maybe you've signed up for the Fold card, which I highly recommend. Talked about it earlier today. I'm testing another app that is stacking me sats. I'm not 100% sold on it quite yet, but give it another week or so here and let me verify the withdrawal process and see how that goes. And it might be a winner. The Ember app, from what I can tell, is like a mining pool using phone resources. Maybe I haven't dove in that far yet. There's some weird rules with the app as far as when you can withdraw the pile that you've stacked. Jim says affiliate link. Yes, I do have an affiliate link. I'll shoot it to you on Telegram, and I'll put it in the audio description if you're listening to this. It's basically you earn per hour. John says that was supposed to be a firearms class at DG. We might have a firearms class at DG. We could do that. Basically, the Ember app, you earn per hour sats, and then with those, or with funds you deposit, if you want to use it that way. Basically, there's games you can play with the sats you earn, you accumulate, and the hang up is you need to use the sats you earn in a game, and then you can withdraw the winnings from those games, or you can lose them. There's several different games you can play. There's several different ways you can use the accumulated sats to then convert them into sats that you can withdraw. And then the limitations on withdrawing are, and I don't know if this is for, depending on when you sign up, it says different, but basically there's a 2-week window where I can withdraw the sats, and there's a minimum amount that I can withdraw the sats. I've been messing around with it. I've been doing very bare minimum with it. And it looks like I'll end up with probably $15 in sats for the month. From doing basically nothing, going on and hitting start every 24 hours, and signing up a couple of folks to do it along with me, and playing the games and playing them smart and not trying to win a million sats, but just trying to stay even with what I've earned, I think I'll end up with $15 in Bitcoin for the month. So like I said, next week I'll be attempting to withdraw it. I'll be going through that process and seeing if it works. But if you're not buying any Bitcoin and you can accumulate $15 in Bitcoin for doing very minimal, I mean, less than a minute a day, less than 5 minutes a day. Hunter says 500 a day ish. Right. And it's not a pyramid scheme. It's an affiliate thing where the more people that sign up with your link, the more you earn, the faster you earn. But what is your tolerance level? What is your tolerance level of what's worth it? We're at $100,000 Bitcoin, give or take. $91,000 Bitcoin. Jim says, are there ads? I don't think I've seen any ads. If I have, I've glazed over them. There's betting. There's sports betting on it. There's crypto betting on it. There's games as far like Plinko. I'll after I withdraw my sats for the month and I've gone through the whole cycle of signing up, accumulating, using them and getting them available for withdrawal, and actually made a withdrawal and it went through. I'll probably recommend it quite a bit more. But let's just say January of 2025. Thanks, Pip, for letting me know I'm still in 2024. January 2025, I make $15 in sats, and say today was my day I could withdraw it. And let's pretend it was $100,000 Bitcoin just for round number sake. When Bitcoin is $200,000, and I'm not saying if anymore, I'm saying when Bitcoin is $200,000, my $15 in sats that I got for dicking around on my phone for a couple minutes a day. Actually, the way I've been doing it, it's like 10 seconds a day, and every few days I spend like 5 minutes. It's now worth $30. And when it's 500,000, now it's worth $75. What's your tolerance for stacking sats? It's the same thing I said 3 years ago or 28 months ago, 29 months ago when I signed up for Fold. And I said, this might be something we want to think about. What was the price of Bitcoin 29 months ago? And when people kind of chuckled and said, oh, you get like 15 sats a day. Oh, you get like 2% back on your gift cards. Oh. It adds up. It adds up. Because my sats are still sitting there. I'm still accumulating more. And the value of the ones that I earn has increased significantly. Hunter says, I'm playing this game for 130 sats for like 45 minutes. So you have to think about it. If you enjoy playing the game, whatever. If you're in it to make the sats, to stack and stack and stack, and people don't have money to put extra money into Bitcoin, I get it, whatever. But guess what? Throw it to your fountain wallet. If this is a way that you can earn sats for doing relatively nothing, and then you can transfer it to your Fold wallet and send value to your creator, your podcasters, your music creators, whatever you want in Wave Lake or Fountain, and you've exchanged a couple minutes of your time to provide value back for somebody that does a podcast that you enjoy, or somebody that makes some music that you like. Hunter says it's funding his node, right? There's no excuse really anymore. Jim says if you're already playing Candy Crush, it's not even that long. Doesn't even take that long. But I don't think anybody has any excuses anymore for not playing in the value for value world. There's easy, low entry points, both monetarily, work-wise, ease of sign-up. There's very low barrier to entry to accumulate a little value and send those off to the people that you're gaining value from. Just like with Gil and the firewood and Gil and putting out there to work days. It's a direct route to the people that you find value in. I'm all in on it. If you haven't been able to tell lately, or over the last year or two, it's a great philosophy to live life by. So, just an easy way. Places. It's called Ember. I don't think that I have the link available. Give me 2 seconds. Maybe I can get it. But anyway, it's relatively simple. It's easy to set up, and no guarantee at this point for another week or so that I can withdraw the funds. I'm hoping that I can. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to, but it seems pretty decent at the moment. I have found strategies that seem to be working better than others as far as the games I'm playing to keep accumulating sats. There, I dropped in the affiliate link into the chat. Hunter says, I did have a conversation with a techie about Bitcoin. They say 6 years into quantum computing will crack Bitcoin, but couldn't explain it further. I also saw an article that Google's quantum computer is going to crack Bitcoin next month. Tell me how. That would be my response to him is tell me how. Perfect. Does he have any Bitcoin? The quantum computing argument's been there for a long time. It pops up. If it happens, it happens. If it happens, it happens. The philosophy of how you're interacting with Bitcoin is all your own. But man, if you're accumulating value in Bitcoin and it's going up, and from John says no incentive for it cracking Bitcoin. If you wait a second. Jim says that's to iCrap App Store. I don't think that links to iPhone because I pulled it off my Android. I don't know what to tell you. You can copy the referral code and search Ember EMBER in the App Store. Interesting. Hunter says exactly. Crack what? The blockchain, the code to seed phrases. No one can tell me. I haven't gone down the quantum computing, accessing Bitcoin. What they're attempting to do for it. John says it costs too much with no payoff. We'll see. But I've seen a lot of talk on Nostr recently about, and I shared a quote a while back here about the same philosophy. You have people that are stack and stack and stack, stack your sats and shut up and just stack them and put them in cold storage and never see them again. That's great. That's not me. I think you have to have. I think you should be stacking away, but we need to use the network to make it functional, to make it valuable. Somebody needs to be using it in order to make it work. I think you can really look at it as the way we were taught about US dollars, that you have a pile that you spend, you have a pile that you intermittently save, and you have a pile that you save for long term. And I've equated it before to your pocket cash, your bank account cash, and your safety deposit, or your 401, or your Roth IRA, or whatever it is. Now, your allocation percentage might be a little different than you would with fiat dollars. Maybe you're going to heavier stacking when in your cold storage, a higher percentage are allocated to that. But definitely consider allocating stuff to value for value contributions, B, short-term spending, in intermediate spending. I think it's not a horrible thing. You're going to have to jump through hoops with taxes, and they're changing the tax laws and this and that. This isn't a financial advice by any means. But consider it. When you spend it, replace it. People are Google eyes over $100,000 Bitcoin. It's still way early in the price. Now, I'm not saying the price doesn't significantly increase or exponentially go up or have a huge jump at some point where you went from $100,000 Bitcoin to $250,000 Bitcoin in a day. Who knows? I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm not saying it couldn't. But it would have been a hell of a lot easier to buy a full one at $20,000, a whole coin, or $15,000, or $800, or $60,000. But you can still buy fractions of Bitcoin. You can still add to your stack. 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin. It's just a matter of what fractions of that you can buy at the moment. And at some point, it's not going to matter how many dollars a Bitcoin is worth, because 1 Bitcoin is going to be 1 Bitcoin. Anyway, anybody else got anything to talk about? I'd be happy to do it before we take off here. Jim says, I DCA to stack and buy the dips and give for value for value. How about, you can buy Bitcoin to stack, and you can earn Bitcoin to use. You can exchange your fiat tokens for Bitcoin, for long-term value store. You can exchange your app on your phone for Bitcoin to exchange for value. There's definitely ways to earn Bitcoin. There's way you can buy it, you can earn it. I'm not saying you have to give away. I'm not saying you should buy it to give it away. I'm not saying you should buy it to sell it. But there's creative ways to be in this world. Pip says, I should whole coined. I should have. I'm guessing should have whole coined could be a statement. Really could. Really could. Hunter says it doesn't like the reference code. I don't know, man. I don't know what to say about that. Capitalization might count. I don't know. I can drop it here. Is that a 0? He says maybe it's case sensitive. Is that a 0? I would say that is an O. As in O. That is definitely a capital O. Hunter. Capital M, capital M, capital N, capital G, capital R, 4, capital E, capital O, 5, capital K, capital A, capital L. That is the reference code. And yes, I believe it's case sensitive, and I'm guessing that you put a 0 in. Yeah, other than that, I don't got much, guys. It's going to be a good week. I got 3 decent episodes of Director Detour coming up. Today released Seth Goldstein is a media guy, digital marketing guy, podcaster. Had a good conversation with him. John Clements and Robert J. Hunt later this week. Definitely check it out. Like I said, you can do the clip and win thing. Jim, thanks for doing all the clipping, and Chris Dixon, I appreciate the clipping there, and anyone else that's in on it. I haven't scrolled through in the last couple days to see if anybody else is jumping on board. But if one of those two fools wins, you could have had your chance. Check out Director Detour. You can find it at on any pod player. I hope you check it out on Fountain and do the clips, or you can find it at directordetour.npub.pro and spinning up a bunch of different stuff with that going forward on the other website on the lotsproject.com, which is in the midst of a little overhaul behind the scenes. Haven't published any of it yet, but I'm going to do a little changes there. Planning on classes at Delinquents Gully this year. Haven't really launched anything official yet, but have some pretty firm commitments on some classes with Carrie Brown. Possibly some coffee related stuff. Gully Days this fall. Keep an eye out for more information on that. Find me at Telegram chat, t.me/lotschat. And we're going to wrap it up for this week. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you swing back next week for another one. Who knows? Maybe we'll fire up something live this week or next week, depending on how things are going. I hope you all have a fantastic day. I hope you had a good weekend. I hope you're all staying warm, and we will talk to you again as soon as I can click over here. Hey, guys, have a great day. Thanks for hanging out.